Hello Year 3, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to Term 2 for Art. I really enjoyed seeing all of the work that you did last term. I know that this term you're starting a unit on space and that you've already done some work on day and night. So we're going to do an artwork today on the moon. So something that I want you to think about when you're using this video is to realize that you don't need to keep up with me at the same pace that the video is going. I need you to pause the video and make sure that you're doing things properly, because quite often when I'm recording, I'll pause the recording as well so that you're not sitting here watching me doing something that takes a really long time. So in a moment, I'm going to go through the list of things that you need to get for today's art lesson, and that will be a good time for you to practice pausing the video whilst you go and get everything and bring it back to your table, because there's quite a list of things that you need that you probably don't have on your table already. So the first thing we need is either a small bowl or a really large round cup. So small round bowl or a large cup, glue, stick glue, pencil, scissors, some aluminium foil, only a little bit, some water, and a paintbrush, the watercolours that were sent home to you in your take-home kits that I hope you all picked up, and just some paper towel. Always a good idea to have some paper towel lying around when you're using watercolour. Now, we've only been back to school. Actually, pause your video. I forgot to tell you to pause your video now, go and get those items and then come straight back. So it's only Thursday of week 1 now, and I know you've done a little bit of work on day and night. You've had 1 or 2 science lessons, but I think it might be a good time for you now to go and have a look on Google and just type in moon. So I want you to have a look at the moon, M-O-O-N, and have a look at some of the images, because the moon looks very different in a satellite image than it does from when you're looking down, when you're looking up from Earth. So can everyone pause their video, maybe minimize this screen if you know how to do that, and have a look at what the moon looks like on Google. I'm going to pause my video too. All right, so now that you've all got a bit of a better idea, a bit of more of an understanding of what the moon actually looks like, we're ready to create our artwork. So what I need from you is you will need your art diary, and we're going to use 1 page for the background and 1 page for our moon. So the background will be in our art diaries, and remember that we always use the right-hand side of our art diaries, right-hand side, the one with all the blank pages underneath, and another piece here for our moon. So I'm going to put the spare sheet just to the side for a moment, and we're going to start with our background. I'm going to fold mine over like this so I can do it more clearly for you. Now we're going to be using the black of our new watercolours. You can see mine's quite used. Now I'm using quite a thick brush, so if you have a thicker brush at home you might want to use it, because it can take a while to fill a page with black. So I'm using lots and lots of paint and lots of water, and we're basically going to completely fill a whole page with just black. Now, if your only paintbrush is the one that came with your watercolour set that you picked up from school, that's fine, but it will take you quite a while. So like I said before, just make sure that you are pausing your video to give you enough time to do everything properly. So I'm going to pause my video as well, finish painting that black, and come back to you. So how about we pause the video together again. Okay, so I'm just finishing up there with my black background. Now as your artwork, as your background starts to dry, you can see that it starts to become a little bit grey. our background is supposed to represent outer space. So we really, really need a really dark black background. So you might find that it might be a good idea to pause the video again and just give your background one more quick layer. It won't take you as long this time because you've already got the black on the background. You might like to give it one more coat just to make sure you have a really, really dark background. You can see this second coat is making a real difference. Almost there. All right, so once you've got your black background done, and you feel like it's dark enough, we need to put that to the side to dry. So if there's any sun out there today, maybe go and put your background in the sun. I'm just going to put mine to the back here because I do find that watercolor on this type of paper dries quite quickly anyway. So I'm just going to put mine to the back here, and then I'm going to bring out the piece of paper that I tore out of my book earlier so we can start on the moon. All right, so for the moon, you'll need your small ceramic bowl or your large cup, whatever you found. And it doesn't matter where you trace it on the page because we're going to be cutting it out anyway. You just need to trace around your bowl or your cup. There we go. So you can see my nice clear circle there. And we're going to be using a watercolor technique where we actually apply plain water onto the surface that we're going to paint before we add the paint. So my water is actually a little bit dirty now because of the black paint that I was using earlier. You need to paint the surface of that circle and try really hard to stay in the lines, because if your water goes out of the circle, when it comes to adding the paint, your paint will also go out of the circle. And it is important that we have this nice defined circle for our moon. So you can see there, I'm filling my circle with water. It's actually given it quite a nice light grey background there, which is quite a good starting point for our moon. And now we're going to be using mostly the white that's on our, mine looks like grey, but our white in our watercolour palette, and we're going to be adding a little bit of black, and we're going to be sort of making different shades of grey and a little bit of black to fill our moon. So just a little bit of grey black to start. So we have a nice light grey colour, and just fill your moon quite randomly with that light grey colour. And you can see because of the water that's there, it's sort of spreading a little bit. And then use a little bit more black this time into the white, which will give you a darker grey. So you can see that one's much darker. And once again, just do some random parts. Get some more water and some more colour if you need to. And I might go one more shade darker, so quite a bit of black there, and only a little bit of white. Might go around that outside like this a little bit with the dark. I'm going to clean my brush, and then I'm going to try and just add a little bit of almost plain white, but it won't be plain white because you've just got too much black on your brush already and black in your palette. So a little bit of plain white throughout there as well. And you've got to work quite quickly, so don't take too much time with this because you don't want your circle to dry. You sort of really need those paints to run into each other. So you can see I've left a couple of little white spots as well. But now I'm going to go back to just plain water again, and I'm going to do a little bit more mixing and blending. Not going over the whole thing, just trying to mix in a few spots so it doesn't look like I've got, really defined splodges on my artwork. Now, if you feel like, I'm pretty happy with the colour of mine, but if you feel as though you added too much black, you can always just clean your brush, even get a fresh water and pause the video, and you can just get plain white on the end of your brush, and you can just introduce some more white wherever you feel you need. If you feel as though your moon's just too dark and you've lost that white and grey effect. And it really doesn't take too long to fix up, and it's worth doing. Now don't let your moon dry because you then need your aluminium foil, which I want you to scrunch up but only quite lightly. And I need you to come around and tap your moon all over. Doesn't matter if the bit of colour gets splashed outside your moon because we're going to be cutting that off anyway. Now when that dries, that'll give your moon a nice effect, nice textural effect. I'm just going to move that over for a moment. I'm going to bring back our black background. Mine's actually still quite wet. I usually wait for it to dry a little bit more. And you might want this to dry a little bit more as well, because if it's really wet and you try to cut it with your scissors, it's really easy to rip the paper. So it might be worth your while just pausing your video, having a little bit of a break, and maybe putting your moon in the sun. Or even if it won't drip, you can even just sort of give it a bit of a shake and try and get it a little bit dry. So I'm going to pause my video and wait for mine to dry a little bit more before I try to cut it out. I suggest you do the same. Okay, so now I'm at the part where I'm going to cut out my moon, and I need everybody to make sure they're cutting their moon out nice and neat, really sticking to that original pencil line so that we have a lovely defined moon shape. We're not rushing, nice and slow and neat. And we have my moon, and then you just need your stick of glue and put some glue on the back. Okay, so I've covered the back of my moon with glue. I'm going to stick it a little bit lower than centre. And if your moon and paper is still quite wet, you might find that there's a little bit of creasing inside the moon. But I actually think that adds to the effect of the moon. So don't worry too much if you get a few little ripples and creases in your moon. Now, I'm going to leave my moon there on my black background, but if you wanted to get creative and add any other detail in the back, it's entirely up to you. It's your artwork. I am going to let you stop there if you're happy with your moon artwork and you don't want to go any further. But if you would like to add a photograph of you sitting on the moon, then keep watching and I'll help you to get an image of you sitting on the moon. So Just so you know where we're heading with it, here's an image of my daughter that I cut out of an album. So if you would like to do this part of the project, then I'll just have a little talk with you about what kind of an image you need to find in order to do that. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do, if you're going to use an old photograph from one of the family albums, you need to ask mum or dad's permission to cut up one of the photos that you choose. And you're looking for a photograph of you sitting down. Now, it can be when you're younger, or you might be able to get someone to take a photo of you sitting down today, and you can get that printed off either just on a normal printer or send it into Harvey Norman. You don't have to finish this artwork today. You can finish it next week if you need to. But I just need to talk to you about a couple of things. So this particular image that I found it's quite old. It's from an old family holiday, and I was really lucky because it was my daughter sitting on a turtle. So you can see that there were three of the same image. Now, this image here, you can see that her shoes cut off and also her hat is cut off. And this image here, her knee is cut off. And in this image here, her shoe is still a little bit cut off, but it was still the best out of the three images. So that's why I chose that particular image. So be really careful when you're choosing an image. Try to make sure that you can see both of your hands and both of your feet in the image. Otherwise, it looks as though you're missing a limb or you're missing a foot or missing a hand. So try really hard to get your two hands, your 2 feet, and if you're wearing a hat, the top of your hat, so that it looks like all of you sitting on the moon. Like I said, if you can't find an old photograph, then you can always get someone to take one of you, and I could also print it off for you if you wanted to email me a photograph of you and we can stick it on when we get back to school. So when you're cutting out your image, I cut this one out earlier, but you have to go all the way around the outside and include every single detail. Go around the little hands and fingers, and you can see here just in between the ankles, there was a different colour behind there. So go to the effort of cutting out if there's any, if you're sitting on something, because when you sit your picture on the moon, if I had a different colour there, if I had a purple or something behind these legs, it would look a little bit funny. You want it to look as authentic as possible. So cut it out with a lot of detail, take some time, and maybe even get someone to help you. Okay, so in order to stick that on, once again, just use your glue stick on the back of the photograph. But before you place it, just have a little look. Some of them might look better up top. I quite like this one a little bit off center because she looks like she's looking up into the sky. So you can place yourself wherever you want on your moon. And it's you sitting on the moon. So I'll leave that up to you if you wanted to put you on it. I hope you really enjoyed today's art activity, and I hope that it looked well. I hope you're proud of it. If you want to make more than one, if you want to make another one, you could actually send it to someone who you haven't seen for a long time. You might send it to a grandparent and write a message in white pencil saying, "I love you to the moon and back." That would really make someone's day. But I'll leave it up to you. If you really enjoyed it, you can do more and maybe make a gift for someone. Otherwise, I really look forward to seeing your artworks. You don't have to send them to me, but if you wanted to either email me an image or send an image through Canvas, I would really love to see them. Have a lovely day, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you in week 2 for art. Bye.